Minimax then already making their way out onto the track here at GYG. Look like we've got Callum Foster on pole position with Jared Fox-Whiteley alongside. We'll get the confirmation as they come up on the screen. There we are. So it is Foster and Fox-Whiteley on the front row, Smith and Blanford row 2, Holland and Mentier on row number 3. Oliver Fabricius starts 11th with Leon Barlow alongside Ben Horner and Ben Adrian on row number 5 in front of Lewis Goff and Jack Burgess. Melissa Adrian and Isaac Parkinson completing your 14 runners. So I think we've had a slight change in position. We're going to have a quick look there because we've got a driver who looked like he was off with a problem, and I didn't see any orange coming through the screen there, so potentially that could be Jared Fox-Whiteley on the run down towards Carousel. We're going to get 2 rolling up laps anyway, these new Comet tyres, but it looks like our Jared Fox-Whiteley, the championship leader going into round number 5, looked like he was either off the track or facing in the wrong direction. He's moving now, he's had some assistance, there he is in the 22, but Jared Fox-Whiteley from his front third start, as all of our drivers will get a start from the front third, a start from the middle and a start from the back. So Jared Fox-Whiteley from the front row will now potentially have to start this race all the way from the back, because I don't think he's going to have enough time to get back up onto the front row. Now, so that's going to, Callum Foster in the 69 is going to lead them round. Then we're going to have Addison Smith and Lucas Blanford on the second row. Now, what Blanford can't do here is move forward into the position that was Jared Fox-Whiteley's. He's still got to start on the second row, but this is going to be a real tough one for Fox-Whiteley, having gone up, I'm not sure whether he's gone off or had a problem on that opening lap. Round they come then for the first time, and I think we've got an aborted start because we have had a number of drivers with their arms in the air. They're going to roll back round, so that is an aborted start, and Callum Foster will lead them round. Fox-Whiteley there in the background, closing back up. Once again, I think the pack was too far spread. So now it's whether they're going to allow Fox-Whiteley to come back through the pack up to the front row, or whether he's going to have to slot in at the back here. Let's see whether he's going to try and start making his way through. Either way, our field is still fairly evenly spread out, and they need to tighten that up into a position. And there is Fox-Whiteley in the 22 trying to find a way back towards that front row. It's going to be very difficult down this downhill section as well, and he's taken to the grass for a second time there. I think he's been forced out because those drivers, I don't think were expecting him to come through, and he certainly will now, I think, have to start this one as they're coming through at a fair rate of knots. And we will once again here at GYG have a aborted start as Blanford's got his arm up off the steering wheel. Not quite sure why, because it is the pole sitter's prerogative to go at whatever speed he or she wants until they get to that acceleration line. It's not the drivers behind that can push through and tell them what speed they want to do. I do get the feeling in a few moments' time we might have these drivers held in a stationary position at the top of the hill, and they may have some additional instructions given to them as to how to do this one, or we're just going to slow them all down, which is brilliant there by our race director Luke at the top, just to get them into a much tighter formation as they head down. So the 2 aborted starts have really played into the hands here of the 22 of Jared Fox-Whiteley, who has been off on the out lap with problems. I think that cart may have stopped. They're going to come through then now, and they are in much tighter formation as they come over the line. Blanford breaks into the middle as they come over start finish, as Callum Foster leads them over the line, but then will drop down a few places. Blanford between the front row slides through into second place. Fox-Whiteley from the outside is through into the lead as Blanford tries to get down the inside into Spoon and has the nose chopped off in by the 22 of Jared Fox-Whiteley. Behind them, Lizzie Mentier and Addison Smith moving through into third and fourth respectively. Then it looks like Foster, then it's Ben Adrian in the 48 coming through. It's not Foster, in fact, in the 69 cart in 5th place. We'll get confirmation to come through. We've got a couple of carts that are very, very similar in colour. Could potentially be the 42 of Leon Barlow with a good start. Over the line they come then for the first time here as they bounce over the curbs and make the run up the hill, up the Dragon Straight towards Spoon Corner, and Trying to get pop out of the slipstream there is Lucas Blanford, and then Fox Whiteley will go to the inside and defend. Blanford will squeeze through the gap and into the lead, and Lizzie Mentier will sweep round the outside and up into second place. So it's going to be Blanford then leading the way from Mentier, Fox Whiteley and Smith, the top four. Leon Barlow is up into fifth place with Lewis Goff then in sixth. It's going to be it is Lewis Goff up there. I think he's managed to squeeze past Ben Adrian in the previous lap. He'll come through then. Expect them to swap positions. There we go with Fabricius, Foster and Burgess in the top 10 in front of Melissa Adrian, Ben Horner, Isaac Parkinson and Harry Platek Holland, as Lewis Goff slides through on Leon Barlow at the top of the hill. And Blanford has managed, since he's managed to get through, hasn't managed to break away so far from Lizzie Mentier, as Addison Smith tries to get a nose down the inside of Jared Fox Whiteley in that stealthy looking all black cart, the number 15, coming off the back of a maiden victory last weekend at Teesside Autodrome. Enters round number 5 of the Cadet and Junior Kart Championship full of confidence and is up into 4th place. So as they come over the line, you'll see that Lewis Goff moves up into 5th place there. He gets the confirmation, but he's got half a second or so off the back of Addison Smith to try and close in now. And if these start battling, as Lizzie Mentier goes down the inside of Lucas Blanford at the top of the hill into Spoon, and we've got our third change of the lead, 4th if you count that Foster led them over the line at the start of the race. And now Lizzie Mentier, who yesterday evening was contemplating not taking part in this race day because, as I mentioned a few moments ago, Jordan Guy, a member of the team Mentier, came out of hospital yesterday. They were contemplating as an entire team going home yesterday, and now moving through into the lead. The decision to stay here in North Wales fully vindicated as we head towards half race distance. Mentier then leading the way from Blanford, Fox Whiteley, and the chopping and changing at the front has allowed Lewis Goff in the number 4 to join on the back of this battle in this 4-kart lead battle for the lead, and Goff has moved past Addison Smith. And looking in the background, we're not too far back to Leon Barlow. He's right on the back. It's effectively 6 karts then. We've got 2 or 3 back then to Ben Adrian and Oliver Fabricius as well. 4.5 minutes remaining, so we are heading towards half race distance in this 8-minute plus 1 lap opening heat for our Minimax class, and Lizzie Mentier leading the way in that mint green, white and black kart. Blanford sets a personal best. Goff with confirmation there that he's up into 4th place. All of our drivers migrate to the inside. Blanford will try and chop to the outside to try and put a move down the inside. Had opened the door though, and Lewis and Jared Fox Whiteley in the 22 is up into 2nd place. So our 2 championship leaders, Jared Fox Whiteley and Lucas Blanford, exchanging positions, and that moves Fox Whiteley up into 2nd place with Blanford down to 3rd, Goff in 4th place. They're side by side down the Devil's Elbow section as the left-hander there at compression, then the drop downhill into Devil's Elbow. It's very single file down there unless you've got a compliant friend who's going to try and go side by side, but either way, generally one of you is getting squeezed out wide there. Slight radiator flap adjustment for Blanford, wanting more power out of that engine as they head up the hill here at Glanyagors, and Goff is going to try and get to the inside of Blanford as well. Blanford goes across the curbs, Goff's on the outside. That could lose Goff a place down the hill to Addison Smith, and the 5-kart battle for the lead has been split in half as the top 3 use that as an opportunity to break away. That's going to put Barlow right back in the mix, Ben Adrian right on the back as well, and once the top 3 start squabbling, and I'm sure they will in this remaining 3 minutes of this race, we'll be back to a 7-kart battle for the lead as they make their way through. Mentier has started to open up a gap or 2 in terms of kart lengths back to Fox Whiteley and Blanford, but the slipstream from those chasing pack behind as Blanford tries to get alongside Fox Whiteley. Mentier goes slightly wide, and that's going to balk Fox Whiteley's exit as Blanford tries to get down the inside, down the hill. And that downhill section into this double apex left there, on paper, you look at that, and when you're on the hill, looks, that's a prime overtaking spot. It really isn't. It's not the most common overtaking spot anywhere near at this track. It looks like it's good as Blanford gets alongside Fox Whiteley down the hill. And as we saw, Fox Whiteley hung out to dry, and that's going to allow Lewis Goff as well to move up into third place. And this, for me, with Goff coming through from his back third start in 11th place, is going to really give Goff a lot of confidence going into the rest of the day, because he's got, I think, a fourth and a sixth later on that he's going to try and take full advantage and take some solid points out of this one. I always say in this class, if you can move forward heavily from your back third start and then just hold position in the other two, you've got a good chance of starting in the top 4 come finals time at the end of the day here. So it's Mentier, then Blanford, with Goff in third place now. Fox Whiteley down then into 4th, having lost 2 places down the hill a few laps ago. Addison Smith and Leon Barlow there in the background. We've got Ben Adrian coming along as well. Then there's a gap back to Oliver Fabricius, who hasn't been able to go with the chopping and changing all the way up the hill, trying to make something happen. And Blanford is through down the inside on Mentier, and Goff is going to get alongside as well with Blanford, but then Goff's going to go to the outside. They're battling behind, and Lucas Blanford is through into the lead. And this is, if they continue battling behind, this will just play into the hands of the race leader. They have to sort themselves out now, because what was a lead for Mentier drops her down into 2nd place. Goff in 3rd. Smith is up on Jared Fox Whiteley. That's put him up into 4th. Fox Whiteley down into 5th. And as everybody chops and changes all the way up the hill, Goff goes wide over the rumble strips. That could potentially slow. He's now going to need Addison Smith to work with him up the hill, punch the hole through the air. And they're split into the race leader on his own, and Goff down the inside of Lizzie Mentier. They're still side by side. Little bit of rubbing between the two of them. Mentier loses 2 places. Goff comes through, and it looks like Fox Whiteley could be through on Lizzie Mentier as well. Leon Barlow tries to get alongside in the 42, but he could well be on the outside. He is, and has to slot back into 6th place. So Lizzie Mentier from 2nd place down into 5th. The time elapses at the top. Last lap board will be waiting to greet our drivers as they come through this time. Blanford leading the way by 0.8 of a second, with Lewis Goff, Addison Smith, Jared Fox Whiteley in 4th place. It looks like Leon Barlow's got a good run on Lizzie Mentier up the hill, and he is 2 through into 5th place. So unless somebody can put in a last lap move on anybody, it looks like it could stand as it is from that run up to the top of the hill, because overtaking opportunities are scarce once you get to this point in the track. As we say, it is a downhill section, and it's very single file, but it's incredibly technical, rewards the brave, so they make their way round paddock corner for the final time here in Minimax Heat 1. Lucas Blanford takes victory from Lewis Goff, who sets a personal best in his quest to try and close in. Smith, Fox Whiteley and Barlow complete the top 5, with Mentier, Adrian, Fabricius, and then Melissa Adrian and Callum Foster completing the top 10 in front of Jack Burgess, Isaac Parkinson, Ben Horner and Harry Holland.